So I made this video yesterday, Drunk on the Blood of the Saints. You can find the video on YouTube under Heaven's Delight too. Someone posted this comment on my page on Reddit. It's the 1 year day where people who aren't even Christians will recognize Jesus Christ. This is not our feast day. This is a pagan holiday. No matter how you try to dress it up. The scriptures tells you that they're going to preach to us another Joshua. And that's exactly what they gave the world. The one they gave the world ended the law, ended the Sabbath, ended our feast days, and whose image is worshipped in most people's temples today. Hail Zeus. So the Nephilims are known to have 6 fingers on their hands and on their toes. This guy posted this image and I found this quite interesting. So there's the 2 Jesus, the black one, because Joshua HaMashiach was black, and then there's the white one, and you see his fingers, he has 6 fingers. And in 1 Maccabees, they tell you that they painted their images of their likeness in our book. And this one I find particularly interesting. It looks like he's making a deal on how they're going to swap places. And again, count the fingers. There are 6 fingers. Remember, the Nephilims have 6 fingers. The synagogue of Satan, the Vatican. They gave us Christendom. That has nothing to do with the Torah. The Kabbalah tree. They gave us Christianity. They created Islam. They created all these 3 religions. So at the end times, they'll turn on each other and kill each other. There goes the pyramid again. Abrahamic religions. And you notice how it started already, right? The Palestinians versus the fake Jews. Won't be long before the Christians get involved as well. It's all working according to plan. So Catholic means universal, fraternity. World Meeting on Human Fraternity was signed on June 10, 2023. Now on the notorious prostitute who sits upon the many waters of the world. The woman who wore purple and scarlet clothing and beautiful jewels made of gold and precious gems. So Rome is named after the Roman goddess Roma. Roma was the goddess who personified the city of Rome and the Roman world. And the woman was dressed in what? Purple and scarlet. Purple and scarlet. These are who did not defile themselves with women, for they remain virgins. They follow the Lamb wherever he goes. So the women that he's referring to in the scripture is not regular women. It's referring to the daughters of the great prostitute. These fake sellout churches. Babylon, the great mother of prostitutes. The daughters are the prostitutes. And of idol worship everywhere around the world. So if you're sitting on these fake churches, you're being defiled. Especially with these pagan holidays that they're pushing. The Catholic Church, the Holy Mother, the mother of all churches. So you guys know now that all presidents are related to the King of England. And their own Masons. Then and now. And there also are Jesuits. They're Jesuits, soldiers to the Pope. For the Society of Jesus. So that was Trump and this is Obama. And remember, these are Jesuits for the Society of Jesus.
I stumbled my way in. And what I found is a secretive Christian organization called The Family that had been hiding in plain sight for over 80 years.
This was a group with tentacles around the world.
A humble example of leadership that the world has never seen.
A breathtaking enmeshment of church and state.
There were congressmen, senators, world leaders.
And they say it's about faith, but there's a shared understanding that what we're really about here is power.
I'd like to single out Doug Coe.
Doug Coe and all of his associates. I'm grateful.
Doug Coe is the longtime leader of The Family.
He's the most powerful man in Washington you've never heard of.
He said the more invisible you can make your organization, the more influence it will have.
Jesus plus nothing. It's a powerful thing.
Using the National Prayer Breakfast, they dispatch representatives to build relationships with foreign leaders.
That is exactly the kind of meeting that I would want to exploit.
For The Family, Jesus says you must go to those who are in positions of power.
God always uses imperfect vessels to do his perfect work. President Trump's an imperfect vessel.
Jesus is the answer, but Jesus and Capitol Hill don't mix.
Because we want our family to stay together.
Dogma, written by Freemason Albert Pike, create an apocalypse that will exhaust and depopulate the masses through deadly designer viruses, global terror, economic disasters, and nuclear war, when the remaining survivors will gladly embrace the promises of a handsome, charismatic new leader who will unveil his plan of hope for eternal world peace. The only way to achieve eternal world peace, he will explain, is to put an end to the 5 causes of war. Secretly, he knows there is only one main cause of wars: the wars caused by his royal ancestors who planned, provoked, financed, and profited from them. He will sell his peace plan by telling the world that border wars will only end by creating a world without borders. Religious wars will only end by creating one world religion of interfaiths. Economic wars will only end by creating a cashless, debt-free society. Rivalry wars between rulers will only end by creating one world ruler. The tools used for war, from handguns to nuclear bombs, will be eliminated, and one world army will be created, which will guarantee world peace. How will this eternal peace plan be accomplished? Through the United Nations, which is the brainchild of the Committee of 300 Ruling Families. The UN is their vehicle for world government and is located on 18 acres of prime Manhattan land donated by the most visible of the ruling families, the Rockefellers. The UN is a closed organization with no public records or open meetings. U.S. taxpayers have already invested $2 trillion in this world authority. Although most of the people working for the UN are genuinely working for peace, the UN is a godless organization controlled by the Committee of 300. The Queen's husband, Prince Philip, and Evelyn Rothschild have already established an interfaith declaration for the creation of one world religion. What would life be like in this world empire with one world religion, one world army, one world economy, one world court, one world media, one world government, and one world dictator? What the public doesn't know is that Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto and the Russian Constitution have been built into the UN Charter, and that the New World Order will be a communist world order. Peace on earth will be a forced peace in which citizens will have no rights. No right to bear children without approval, no right to travel without authorization, no right to own private property, no right to privacy, no right to bear arms, no right to protest, no right to receive an inheritance, no right to choose an education or a job or even a place of residence, and worst of all, no right to live. The right to live will be based on an individual's rating of usefulness to the royal elite. In this planned world without borders or nations, citizens will be disarmed of all weapons, including handguns, and will have no means to protest, fight, resist, or challenge this one world authority who will control them spiritually, economically, and militarily. Every human being will be electronically tattooed and will become helplessly dependent on this one world authority for all of their most basic needs. The masses will eventually be taught to bow down and worship this one world dictator who will rule the entire world from his eternal throne in Israel.
This world leader will be the most popular man that has ever walked the planet Earth. He will be embraced by the whole world as the man of the hour. He's going to bring an apparent peace. He will rise as a finance man, a peacemaker, but emerges as the most powerful dictator that the world has ever seen.
Esto es lo que tú querías. Yo soy fino, esto es trap de galería. Tú eres un charro, Rocky de aquí, una porquería. Yo un campeón, Rocky Marciano, Rocky Balboa, Rocky Balbía. Tengo la ruta, tengo la vía, sí, tengo la vía. Los gastos de noche facturo todo el día. Tanta plata que me gusta que me echa.
Did you know that every time we celebrate a holiday, we are celebrating one of the 7 deadly sins? Story of our lives, right? Can't even have a fucking holiday. Let's get into it. We'll start off with Valentine's Day. Now, what deadly sin can this celebrate? If you guessed lust, you're right. No need to explain that one. Thanksgiving, sin of gluttony. Pretty self-explanatory, you're eating way more than you need. Christmas, greed, overconsumption. We celebrate gifts more than the actual reason for the holiday. St. Patrick's Day, can you guess? None other than sloth. And why? Because people get blacked out drunk. Up next, Easter. This one's interesting. They say Easter is envy because the Romans were jealous of Jesus and unalived him. The next one, Halloween. It's wrath. You get it, scaring and hurting people for fun while wearing masks. Weird. And last but not least, the sin of pride. None other than Independence Day. Makes sense, right? The more you know. It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.